Welcome back to the POMCAST. Today we're talking about Honda Powersports dealers, and the 101 that you need to understand about paid search. I am joined by the founder and CEO of Premier Online Marketing, Mike Shaug. I appreciate you being on. Mike, how are you today?
Great. I'm doing great.
Okay, good. Good to know. Listen, Honda Powersports dealers, well, there's a lot of you out there, right? Some of you are even powerhouse dealers. I think for you guys, you'll even want to know even more about what we're talking about today. It is something that's existed for a long time, but it is extremely important to understand how it works, especially when you're as iconic of a brand as Honda. So we're going to demystify a little bit. We're going to get really specific about some of the things that you want to know, understanding how to segment campaigns differently for Honda and your models. There's a whole lot of things that you may or may not know about your relationship as a Honda Powersports dealer to all of the Honda searches that happen for your sister or your brother, the Honda automotive brand. So we'll talk about a little bit of that. We'll also talk a little bit about the usage of CRM data and sales history, some of those pump in and out reports and how they can help you fine tune your audience targeting to your Honda customers. Talk a little bit about keywords and ad schedules, break down a little bit of remarketing, and it's all going to come from our very, very smart, capable guest, Mike Shaug. Welcome back to the podcast, the POMCAST, Mike.
Good to be here. And just kind of one thing at the opening is we just became a Honda Powersports preferred vendor. So we can, that's great. It's great to be in the program, and we're really excited and want to work with as many Honda dealerships across the country as we can.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So take note of that, Honda dealers. Premier Online Marketing, they're in the program now. That makes it even easier for you. Let's just jump right into it with a basic question. What makes Honda PPC advertising different from other motorcycle campaigns? And maybe this is probably a good opportunity to talk about general automotive, but maybe even Honda automotive.
I would say that because Honda is a really tough brand, because you have the full gambit of product from kids products to very expensive cruisers. And the other part that makes it challenging is Honda does a lot of stuff. They make a lot of cars, they make planes, they make boats, they make generators. So there's a lot of ways that you can waste money without really catching it. So there's definitely a lot of safeguards that are in place. But for every Honda dealership, you're going to want to make sure that you're investing in SEO, which is organic or free traffic. You're going to want to make sure that you're investing in paid traffic as well through Google Ads. If you have a really big budget, maybe you'll look at Bing ads or Microsoft ads, as it's called now. And then, of course, some social advertising as well. But unlike Harley, Honda has a product at every different level, starting from kids all the way up to very experienced riders. And then you also have the further segmentation of street versus off-road, which is something that many other powersports brands don't have. So it's a pretty complicated brand to advertise, because there's just so many different SKUs of product, but that also means that you have a lot more people that you can sell to. So that's a good thing.
Yeah. I am going to keep you moving quickly today on the POMCAST, Mike. So next question, and I know people need to know a lot about keyword categories when you're thinking about a Honda dealer. What should they be bidding on?
Obviously, you're going to be focusing on your brand, which, if you're one of the Honda stores here, like Right Now Austin, that will be a brand term that you're going to want to defend. You're going to want to be bidding on what we call the dealer terms keywords, which is Honda Powersports dealer near me, Honda motorcycle dealer near me. And then you're going to want to be focused on your lines of product, which is motorcycle, Honda ATV, Honda motorcycle, Honda side-by-side, Honda dirt bikes. So those are going to be things that you focus on. And then you're going to be drilling into your specific inventory that you carry, Gold Wings, for example, or, CRF, all the different motorcycle and ATV lines that you have, Honda Africa Twin. So that would be the inventory line as well. And then, of course, used inventory as well. It's going to be a huge search category. And then kids, motorcycles for kids. Sometimes people won't actually say the brand term, but they'll be looking for a product for their kids. So you want to make sure that you have that as well, if that's a business category that you want to serve as well.
Okay. This next one I know will be people definitely want this answer, and that is now, especially we know that you're in the Honda program. You can't get in there unless you actually have experience and know what you're doing, and of course you guys do. So what have you found to be some of the best converting keywords in Honda PPC campaigns?
For most businesses, their brand term is their most important keyword. It's kind of the end of the conversation. Most people start their motorcycle buying journey kind of more generically: motorcycle dealer, best cruiser, best dirt bike for kids, so on and so forth. And then as they increase their intent, their keyword searches will be a little bit more focused. They'll be looking for Honda dealer near me, Honda dealer Austin, so on and so forth, or specific models like a Honda Fury. But at the very end of that, it's going to be your brand term, which is the business name that you have. And you're going to want to make sure that you're investing some budget in there, because you will have competitors that will intentionally or unintentionally bid on your brand term, and you can lose customers at the bottom of their intent funnel. So that's super important. The next best converting would be the dealer terms category. As kind of broad as it sounds, if someone is saying, I'm looking for a Honda motorcycle in Austin, we don't know what they're looking for, but we know that they're looking for you. So that's definitely a category that you're going to want to be investing a lot more heavily in. Brand, you typically invest about 5% or 10% of your overall budget, because your SEO will pick up a lot of that, hopefully, if you're doing some of that. And then the other very good category that indicates that a customer is kind of very low or kind of near the end of their intent cycle is going to be finance related terms. Bidding on finance specials, incentives, that's a great way to get customers who are shopping by price or shopping by interest rate or incentives. That's a great way to get customers into the pipeline.
I can't forget to ask you about this when we're talking about keywords, and that is negative keywords. What are some key negatives that help refine Honda campaigns?
For Honda, it's really simple: CRV, Civic, Accord, planes, whatever the boats are. I've never done
lawnmower.
Lawnmower. Yeah. You have it's same with Yamaha too, actually, because Yamaha makes a lot of products. They make guitars, they make flutes, they make keyboards. So you need to think about what are all the other versions of Honda that people are going to look for. And as cool as Honda is, the vast majority of people that are looking for something automotive in Honda are looking for a car. So you need to make sure that you are incredibly judicious in excluding everything that could be car related, including the keyword. I mean, you're not going to exclude this, but you're not going to bid on Honda by itself. You would assume that 9 out of 10 of those times they're going to be going after a car dealer. And in a lot of our audits, Honda dealer will be there. And I'm just like, oh my God, why? They're not looking for what you have. And people don't really pay attention a lot of times when they click on ads. So they will click on the ad, they'll spend your money. And you're like, why are people going to the website? They're bouncing immediately. That would be a great reason why. So with Honda, because the vehicle car line and SUVs and truck is such a strong, huge, dominant brand in the United States, you need to make sure that every single model is excluded, and you need to pay attention to the new Honda models that are coming out every year and that you exclude them immediately. News about new Honda concepts, exclude those, because anything Honda related, especially if you have kind of a loose keyword strategy and you're going after broad match keywords, you will end up spending some money on that automotive search, and you want to keep it concentrated on Powersports. So that's a really important factor for Honda Powersports. You want to make sure that you're not spending money on car shoppers.
The level of depth with your knowledge is so helpful for, especially in conversation like the word specific to a big, you mentioned it, Honda's an iconic brand. My first dirt bike ever, my first 2 or 3 dirt bikes were all Hondas actually. But another component of that when you're talking about brand and the significance of this is shaping your target audience. And so I wanted to ask you next, how can you break down the importance, I should say, of pump in, pump out reports in shaping the target audience for Honda dealer?
So a lot of when we're deciding like we're like most dealerships have an AOI, right? Which, for a Honda dealer in Austin, that might be the greater Austin area. But that doesn't mean you're going to sell equally or well in every zip code within the metro area of Austin. So what you want to do is you want to identify the reports from the OEM that show you where people are poaching business from you, where you're losing sales, so you can mount good defense. And then you also want to take that and marry that with your CRM data that shows you what zip codes specifically you're selling the most units into. And what you're going to do with that information is you're going to leverage that against your targeting. And you're going to say, hey, I might want to look at this kind of broader area. And sure, if someone is looking for Honda Fury in this area, I want to show up for them. But these 10 zip codes have the highest concentration of our buyers. So we're going to make sure that we're spending more in those areas. And this is going to totally vary massively from one Honda Powersports dealer to another. A lot of Honda Powersports dealers serve kind of more rural areas, and they're selling side-by-sides and products that people might be using for hunting, farm activities, or whatever. So that's going to vary massively. So it obviously, really, the truth cannot be dictated kind of from like, I can't just determine what it's going to be in every target area. That truth is going to come from your CRM, and it's going to be it's going to vary massively by product. If you're on the West Coast, the side-by-side market and ATVs that you're going to be selling over there are going to be different than what you're selling in Florida or here in Texas as well. So it's really important that you are thoughtful about that. And then also street versus dirt bike. That'll be a very big differentiator as well. You're not going to want to make sure you're going to want to make sure that you don't just have a motorcycles campaign. You're going to want to make sure that you split it by on-road and off-road. So you can make sure that if you're selling more on-road, you can spend more money there versus just boosting your broader budget against all on and off-road keywords. You're going to want to make sure that that's segmented, because that's a very important consideration as well.
Love it. Let's talk about scheduling. When is there a time when Honda ads are most effective? What kind of ad schedule would you maybe recommend that would filter out low intent traffic?
I mean, the problem with motorcycle marketing is it's cool, and you can buy a Harley or you can buy a Honda Africa Twin or Goldwing and be looking for another bike the very next day because you're passionate about it, because it's cool and you're interested in the space and interested in the gear. So you have to be very thoughtful about scheduling your investment in marketing around the timeframes where you tend to get the most calls. We tend to find that a 7 to 11 p.m. schedule works best for most Honda Powersports dealers. We tend to find that investing budget during the night is not the best use of time. There are a lot of people searching at night, but they're not going to be calling you. And it's best to invest your budget around the timeframes when people are more likely to convert. So we find that spending your money during the day is the best. So definitely look at what you're investing now and ask the question, are we spending our money 24/7? Or are we being strategic and increasing our investment during the times of day when we are getting the most conversions? So that's a very important consideration.
Okay, I like that answer. I want to take you into demographics. They're important for brands like Honda. So, knowing that the demographics on a Honda buyer is unique, talk to us about like income level. What's going to be different than maybe, say Harley Davidson or somebody buying an Indian or something, but still important, and a place where you would probably making advice around bid adjustments.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you want to spend as much money as possible on the people that are buying the most of your highest margin, highest value products. You want to sell everything that you have in your lot or on your in your store. But this is going to vary by dealership, and the data is going to come from Google Analytics. But like Harley, for instance, skews older and higher income. Honda has a much wider array of product, and going from kids all the way to very experienced riders buying $40,000 bikes. So that's going to vary by the line of bike that you are selling. If for higher cost products, you're probably going to be skewing to a 30 plus age demographic and a higher income tier, like the top 20%, a little more. And we never want to exclude anyone from a demographic standpoint. We want everyone who is able to shop and buy our product to be able to do so. But you want to make sure that you're spending more against the demographics that are more likely to convert. Honda, for Honda, it's a little bit more complicated because they do have more product for every level of rider and of different age levels, whereas Harley doesn't. Harley has a 10K starting price on their motorcycles, which just excludes probably 40% of the whole market, whereas Honda doesn't have that problem. So that age question will actually vary, not at the account level, but at the product line level. But ultimately, what you want to do is see the statistics on who is calling us the most. Where are conversions coming from? Are they coming from people from age 18 to 24? Or are they coming more or at a lower cost from age 35 to 40 or 45 plus for different types of campaigns? And you just want to, again, not exclude anyone, but add little positive bid adjustments in areas where you see a concentration of conversions. For instance, if your touring motorcycle campaigns are generating a higher level of conversions from age 40 plus, then just give a nice 10 or 15% bid adjustment there, or work with an agency and get that information on where your users and where your buyers are coming from and who they are. So you can understand that better and you can reach out to them more because Honda is a brand that sells to all levels of rider. That means that you have a very wide addressable market. And you're going to want to be very cautious that you don't that you spend strategically, because you could spend a lot of money on generic motorcycle search or generic ATV or side-by-side search, but that's not going to be as beneficial as really drilling into your product and your business categories and your audiences that you're trying to address, and making sure that you're investing more where you are more likely to convert and not as much where you don't have that information as clearly.
Great advice. Couple last questions for you. This next one on remarketing strategies. Do they differ? And if so, how, between a person who, let's just say, browsed a side-by-side versus, let's just say, a Goldwing?
Yeah. So I think there's like a good, better, best approach to remarketing. Good is you're doing some remarketing, some level of it. Maybe you have a standard, Honda Powersports 30-second ad that you can use as remarketing for everyone that's been to your website, or you have some banners. It's good to do remarketing. It's really important to engage your users, especially ones that are willing to spend more money. You're going to need more touch points with those potential buyers. The better option is you have updated. There's like a frequency to your creative updates. Something that we see a lot of the time is that people will have remarketing in place, but it's a banner ad that was created 8 months ago and they haven't really changed it. It doesn't really have a clear offer. A better version of that would be updating your creative so it's reflecting the newest models that you have, that you're not running the same static video creative or banner ad for years at a time. And we see that all the time in Powersports. So that's important. And the cool thing is that Honda does do a lot of great video creative that you can leverage in your ads and create kind of mini commercials. The best version of this is you have remarketing collateral at every, not every line, because that would be too many different videos and a huge creative lift for any Powersports dealer. But let's say you sell a lot of Goldwings, or you sell a lot of Furies, or a specific type of dirt bike. Identify where you have the most inventory and then create specific videos for those particular audiences. And when someone goes and looks at a really expensive Goldwing or Cruiser or something like that, then you are actually addressing them through remarketing with video or banners with the vehicle that they were looking at. So that's just a kind of like the different variety of options you have for targeting your users and staying in front of them. And you want to make sure that you're doing it at some level. Something is better than nothing, but the best version of it is where you have both video and static or HTML5 banners, and that your creative is specific to the units that those people are shopping.
How about YouTube pre-roll and custom intent audience? How would these work together for a Honda campaign?
Yeah. So I love YouTube for top of funnel marketing. It can often be extremely expensive and cost prohibitive for a Honda dealer, Honda motorcycle dealer, to go after like motorcycle dealers, which is where the vast majority of search volume is at the power sports level. So what you want to do is get a little bit more granular and targeted, and you want to make sure that you're leveraging you're taking YouTube and using that for top of funnel marketing. So that's where you could leverage a keyword like motorcycle dealer near me, motorcycle dealer Austin, that you wouldn't typically bid on through a search campaign, but you could put that into your Honda top of funnel YouTube campaign. And you can also leverage all sorts of different things. Like you can use competitor names in your custom intent lists to stay in front of people that, or get in front of new people that don't know about your dealership, but maybe they're shopping somewhere else. They're shopping for a Honda or Harley store or a KTM dealer across town. You can leverage that competitive keyword intent, which is very valuable and typically the end or very close to the end of a shopper's journey, and serve them YouTube banners that are targeted to them. I love YouTube. I love custom intent audiences. I mean, YouTube used to just be thought of as kind of a top of funnel marketing tool, and it really is valuable at every level. But being able to use custom intent or keyword lists to target to people that you have not engaged with previously is a very powerful way to leverage YouTube. And it's also cost effective. I mean, you can, there are no budget limitations. You can have a 50, or like $50 a week or something, a very small budget, and get a lot of eyeballs. And the value of a banner impression or a search impression versus a 15-second video that has great footage of a product that someone is interested in, zipping through the hill country of Texas or something like that, that's just so compelling and a very valuable touch point. So we love YouTube. It's cheaper. Oftentimes the CPCs are cheaper than search, so that it can be a really great way to get in front of people that you might not typically want to target through your core campaigns. So definitely leverage YouTube.
Yeah, it used to be YouTube was one of those, if it's a nice to have, but it is such a must have. Everybody's there. Everybody spends so much time there. The ability, you do such a great job of, I think, helping businesses understand these opportunities within, custom intent and building out all of this additional value within YouTube. And I don't think it can be overstated. Actually, it's the place. And I think everybody recognizes it because of how much time we all spend there compared to other things. And if you're in the market for a new Honda, I guarantee you're going to spend some time in YouTube.
One last thing is we're offering free SEM and SEO audits for any Honda Powersports dealer that would like to take advantage of that. That's something that we're doing through the rest of the year. And we're also going to be doing potentially some webinars for Honda Powersports dealers to give them more education and go a little deeper on digital marketing, specifically around SEO, paid search, and social.
Another fantastic episode, Mike. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. This is kind of I felt like this episode, we were ripping through the hill country on a CB1000. Love that black edition CB1000 that Honda has available right now for anybody who wants to buy one. The POMCAST, it's made awesome because, Mike and his team are the ones that show up and they're the guests of this so that you guys can get amazingly great insights that go deep. No shallow wisdom here. It's the insights you're looking for. So if you happen to be a Honda Powersports dealer, then I bet you loved this episode and hopefully you got a lot out of it. But if you're an automotive dealer, if you're a Powersports dealer of any kind, if you are an apartment property, if you're in legal services or just about any other business, and you're trying to navigate the fast changing world of search and digital marketing, don't just chase the trends. Make sure that you're staying strategic, which is exactly what Premier Online Marketing does for their clients. Mike and his whole team, they're completely dedicated to that. You can follow Mike and you can follow Premier Online Marketing easily on LinkedIn. I highly recommend it. You can also check out Premier Online Marketing at premieronlinemarketing.com. If you don't know how to spell that, then you probably shouldn't visit them. But if you do know how to spell it, well, it's pretty simple. No tricks, just premieronlinemarketing.com. Depending on where you view or listen to this content, like it, share it, subscribe, virtually high five us. If you've got ideas for things that you'd like to see show up as an episode, well, we'd love to hear that too. So just drop it in whatever comment section you can get your hands on. And before you know it, we'll be right back here with another episode of the POMCAST.